Hi, this is Majo John Madden on Friday afternoon, the 17th of May, and I'm in old Veracruz. Very, very old. One of the most ancient cities in Mexico. Spaniards came here around 1518, and it has always been one of the most important ports in Mexico. Around 1900, there's a 5-year project to put in what they call the Muelle, a big wharf down around the marina that has made it a very competitive commercial port, and huge ships come in and out all day. Now there's a guy having a phone call right near me, so I'm going to move a little further down. I'm trying to update my people. This is, I send this to my closest people, but also put it on YouTube so people know what's up with me, because there's been a lot of changes lately. A lot of changes in the last 4 years. Just about 4 years ago, I started, it was the spring of 21, so 3 years ago, I left the Blue Ridge Mountains. After a year of wandering around in the high mountains, I had left my apartment in Asheville, North Carolina. It had a big spiritual experience and was off to explore, and spent a wonderful year in the high mountains of western North Carolina. But then me and my little chihuahua both got allergic the second spring out there and started bigger travels. And I went to Louisville, Kentucky to visit my son, Chicago, Illinois to say goodbye to my home, New Orleans for the entire Mardi Gras season in the winter of 22, not just the last 2 weekends, but 6 weeks of Mardi Gras, and I got super happy. And New Orleans was the kind of the tip-off that I needed something more foreign, that I was due for bigger travels. And by that point, I knew already that I wanted to head to Mexico. And in the April of 22, I left New Orleans and made my first contact with the ocean in the southwest Louisiana, what they call the Cajun Riviera. Not much in the way of beaches, but it was ocean. I spent a whole year in South Texas. I spent a month in Galveston, which is really an ocean paradise. I spent 9 months in South Texas, the whole Rio Grande Valley area from McAllen all the way over to South Padre Island, where I did a hell of a lot of swimming and exploring beaches with my dog Magic. I crossed over into Mexico on March 15th, a year ago, and have been exploring Mexico ever since. Mostly I've been aiming towards the Yucatan Peninsula, where I have my one pre-Mexico friend is on Cozumel Island. And although that's been my primary destination, I also am a mountain guy, because I was 16 years in the mountains, the Blue Ridge Appalachian Mountains, all around Asheville, North Carolina, and then the high mountains for a year. So right after I crossed into Mexico, I got surprised by realizing how close to the shore are the Sierra Madre Occidental mountain range, the eastern range. Over on the west coast, there's the Sierra Madre, Occidental is the west coast, that come down from the Rockies. The Oriental Mountains is where I've been. And outside of Victoria, I spent an awful lot of time in Los Troncones Parque Ecologico. It was very wonderful. Ended up back by the shore, by Tampico. went back up into the mountains to explore the city of Jalapa, the state capital of Veracruz, which is really amazing city. I was 3 months around that area, but the weather was terrible. I was there for the Christmas holidays, which were really quite beautiful there. But right after that, the dark, overcast, rainy, cold weather drove me down to the shore, and I ended up here on what they call Noche Viejo, the old night, New Year's Eve, and had an amazingly transporting time. It's not a huge party town, but that night I discovered a street dance that was beyond the beyond. And I spent January and February here and really, really fell in love with Veracruz. It's got so much of the old. It's got the ocean. It's right up against another town called Boca Del Rio, which is shockingly affluent. Affluence like I had not seen in Mexico. And wonderful beaches. But there's a lot I didn't like about Boca Del Rio. Their town slogan is El Mejor de Veracruz, the better part of Veracruz, and they are rich, and they love being rich, and I call them not regular Mexicans at all. The rich in Mexico are as corrupted by their money as the rich in the United States. So I thought I was gonna take off from Veracruz for the Riviera Maya, but made one more pilgrimage up into the mountains. A young woman that I interviewed on the wharf in Veracruz in Spanish told me why I had to go to Orizaba, an official Pueblo Mágico in Mexico. And I spent 7 weeks there, very, very happy. It's so gorgeous. I really recommend it. None of the places I've been get American tourists or international tourists. And they've also been incredibly safe, the whole stretch. No bandits, no cartel. And one part of my mission in my YouTube channel is to dispel a lot of myths about Mexico. The people are incredibly wonderful. If you stay away from cartel areas, it's really safe and sweet, wonderful quality of life. And I also try to put into historical perspectives a lot that I've been learning from National Public Radio, especially their Throughline podcast, where they look into the historical antecedents of problems we're having now. And they really dispelled a lot of Eurocentric myths about, it was so easy for the Spaniards to conquer Mexico because they had better firepower and they were smarter. No, they had smallpox. They brought smallpox in stealth. When they arrived in the early 1500s, the indigenous name for the city that was the locus of the Mayan Empire, same location as the current Mexico City, was at that time in the early 1500s by far the largest and most sophisticated city in the world. Much larger than London, Rome, certainly New York. And we like to think that the Mayans were such savages. Awful lot of that has been dispelled. There's an island right off of Veracruz here that they call Isla Sacrificios. And the conventional wisdom, that's still what Wikipedia says, is that in 1518 the Spanish explorers made landfall on that island and found the remains of human sacrifice. Looks like a lot of bullshit. It wasn't hard to get underneath that myth to find out it was mostly a burial ground. But all us European immigrants like to think that it was good for the Europeans to smash the Mayan dynasty, kill off all their leaders, destroy what an incredible society. Because we were smarter and better, and we ought to just take this place and make it Christian like us, all this stuff. People coming down the street here, and it's hot. I came back here about 4 weeks ago from Orizaba because my car had been stolen. I'd been traveling in 2 different camper vans for 4 years. And in Orizaba, my car got stolen. And I said, okay, I can't afford to replace it. And it was a wreck anyway. The brakes were bad, the transmission was bad. And it was illegal in Mexico, and I was always fretting. I've had lots of encounters with the cops, and I overall love Mexican cops. Not all of them. And not bandits who pretend to be cops, which I had a recent encounter. So I came back here, and by the shore, by the marina, it's a lot cooler than downtown here. And I came to my new favorite coffee shop is Lara's. It's right down there, this side of those blue balloons. And I came here because on the weekend, this town really bulks up. Lots of people come here for the weekend. And the 2 coffee shops I usually use at the Hotel Mari Tierra and Jarritos de Oro would both have been really busy today on Friday. And this one is not. It's really empty. And the food is wonderful, and the Wi-Fi is great, and the air conditioning, because it's so hot. I've been warned that out on Cozumel, it's going to be pretty much this hot and humid because we're 900 miles south of the border. But it'll be an island. There'll be breezes off the water, and it'll be a lot easier to create. City buses are really noisy. Travel with the doors open. Stick shift. And there's Rocio Nale and Claudia Sheinbaum. Claudia is the AMLO Morena Party candidate for president. Presidential elections here are June 2. They're coming up real quick. And I haven't done enough research, but my reading from talking to lots of people is that AMLO, Abraham Manuel Lopez Obrador, the outgoing president, has genuinely been for the workers. And he's, in some ways, parallel to Biden, hated by the rich. And they will do anything to bring him down. But overall, if you're not in the cartel area, it's not violent. The tone of the whole campaign is very civil. In Orizaba, I was in a big parade of the Morena Party people. Hundreds of people marching all through downtown Orizaba. Not a heckler. No, it was incredibly exciting. So I'm enormously relieved to be here instead of the U.S., grieve terribly for what's happening there, and do real time believe that Trump is going to get nailed with a felony, and lots of Republicans have said they wouldn't vote for him if he has a felony. So I'm very hopeful about that. But not intending to go back, folks. The lifestyle is so good here. So I came back here about 4 weeks ago. I did get robbed after several nights in a hotel because I was trying to rent an apartment and it wasn't coming through. Finally on, I think it was Thursday the 2nd of May, I had money in my pocket to rent an apartment that afternoon, but it didn't come through. And I went up to Boca Del Rio, where I have real good friends, at another Jarrito de Oro coffee shop in the Punta Azul Hotel. And after spending an hour at the cafe, I said, I love this beach, Playa La Bamba. I've had so many good experiences here. I'm just going to spend the night here. And I got robbed right after midnight. 2 guys, I'm sure they were not cops, but impersonating cops, took all my money. And because I then did not feel safe on the beach, I walked all night in the only shoes I had left when my car was stolen. The shoes I had been wearing that day never had fit me well, and I walked in them all night and screwed up my feet big time. Since then, my best friend in Veracruz gave me better chocolates. I think these are chocolates. And at first they hurt like crazy also, but now they feel fine. But I do have a tendency to overextend. Last Friday, my feet and ankles, you can see they're pretty swollen. They were more swollen Friday, and on Saturday I went into There's a beautiful naval hospital right by the wharf there. I knew they wouldn't treat me, but they sent me to the big regional hospital, Hospital Regional. They gave me meds and sent me home and said, come back and get blood tests on Monday. By Monday, the swelling and soreness and heat to the touch had crept further up my calves, so they hospitalized me for the day. Turns out just for observation, I guess, because they let me go 12 hours later and never really explained why they had discharged me. More meds, and I am taking the meds, antibiotics and ibuprofen to put the swelling down. But I still overdo. I was in the emergency room on Saturday. Sunday there was a wonderful guy playing at the Hotel Marin Tierra. I minimized my dancing, but I did not dance. And then yesterday, I was in search of better headphones because I'm always working with videos and need to be able to listen to them in coffee shops and stuff. So I was going to catch a bus or a taxi. I had the money for a taxi, but just kept missing taxis and ended up here, which is really only about a 25 minute walk from the marina, and spent time in there at Laura's coffee shop, and then walked downtown. Was another 10 minutes, very hot. That would have been all right, but I ended up, one way I got carried away was I wanted to shoot another video of Mercado Hidalgo, and it's quite spectacular. And I shot a 16-minute video that spilled out of there into other little markets. I beat the shit out of my knee. I've got a knee injury that goes back a long ways. Today I'm really limping on my right knee. One of the wonderful things that's going on is I'm swimming, because all through Texas I was in the water a lot. But the bay right down the marina is real easy swimming, real calm. So I swam an hour yesterday, and idiot, I spent 2 hours in the water this morning, bobbing around, swam around the whole bay, and I'm feeling it now. I got myself that apartment finally. It's turned out to be a wreck with a genuinely crazy landlord, right next to my best friends, Roxana and Iker. But I'm pretty sure they left 2 nights ago. They told me they were gonna, because he's impossible. He won't maintain the places, and he's paranoid. He hated them. I bet he hates me, but he won't let on. Doesn't keep him up. No matter how long I stay there, I could be there months and he'll never get the water working. Every time he tries to hook up the water on the roof, it floods my place. So I'm almost squatting in a vacant apartment. So the combination of all these things have left me saying, much as I love Veracruz, it's time to go. And my plan is that when I get my check at the end of this month, I will hop a bus, 24-hour, maybe 200 peso bus ride to Cozumel, where my friend is. Roll the dice. If I had been in my camper van, I was going to explore all those areas out there. But I'll go to Cozumel and see what happens there. So that's the catch-up, folks. I cannot see anymore. There's so much glare on the screen. I hope this is clearer than it looks to me. Have a great day, folks.